afraid to ask tough questions. She's not afraid to speak her mind. You've read her column. Maybe you're a fan on Facebook.
No topic is off limits. Straight to the point.
There's no chaser. You're now watching Straight Talk with Carla Zuill.
And welcome to another edition of Straight Talk. There are many issues right now plaguing Bermuda, from the economy to unemployment to the plight of the young black man battling this violence. We've heard many reports about what should be done, but have we taken the time as Bermudians to talk to people, everyday citizens, who genuinely care about where this island is going? Today we have with us in studio Sean Dill. Sean, welcome.
How are you?
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Now, Mr. Dill, what is your plight? Why are you so concerned about what's happening on our island right now?
Well, honestly, I'm a indigenous Bermudian, and so many times we broad stroke the word, and we, the indigenous, become comfortable not understanding that we have resident Bermudians here and indigenous Bermudians. And right now I feel like we are almost become victims. And that's a strong word, but we have become a target. And
A target of whom or what?
Just a target of I would say the way things are and the way things certain people would like them to be. We are becoming a target of exodus. Right now it seems as if we are just being given tickets to leave Bermuda. And I have my conspiracy theories on it, but you know what I mean?
Now, are you referring to the amount of people who are picking up and leaving and going particularly to the UK?
Oh, absolutely, because what's happening is our vote is going to become in jeopardy. Our voting rights, because immigration law is just through policy. The government, who I was in at the time, they write into policy, this is how we feel it should be, and then it goes to the governor, or however it goes. I'm a common citizen. I don't like to get into the politics. I'm trying to stay on the human side of this instead of going to the corporate side. Mm-hmm. And from a human side, I can see how we are disintegrating in numbers, and it really concerns me.
But what are, besides people moving away to the UK, because some would argue that it offers an opportunity that just does not seem available in Bermuda. But what other things disturb you? What do you feel qualifies or quantifies saying that there is an exodus?
I've been here for a few years now, and I have seen so many people disappear out of here. If I sat here and just went through the Rolodex in my mind of faces, and people that lived in Bermuda that no longer live here and no longer even care to be here because of the stagnation, the glass ceilings, if you will, just the overall feel of what Bermuda's become. People are just leaving in droves, and whereas we would once say we probably had a population of indigenous 50,000, which gave us the vote, a voting population. It gave us some stuff. But right now, we're disintegrating, where we might be down to maybe 40,000 or 35,000 even. I'm not sure what it is.
Now, you keep saying indigenous. Do you mean just blacks, or are you talking about...
And listen, indigenous to me, unless I have misinterpreted what it means, is someone who is born in a certain place and then still holds their citizenship in that place. They never gave up their in our case, it wouldn't be nationality, never gave up their citizenship and moved off to another country and said, no, I am a resident of the USA, or et cetera, et cetera.
Now, you said you have a conspiracy theory. Do you care to share with us what that is?
Yes, just that the powers that be, and let's call them the establishment, is basically, for whatever reason, because we have a lot of Bermudians that are in this establishment. And when I say Bermudians, I mean indigenous, so I don't understand what their whole motive would be. But it really looks like through miseducation with our kids, the absolute glass ceilings that are created in job situations, with just so many other balls that are just thrown up in the air. It's making it almost impossible with the financial, the things the way Bermuda is financially right now. How government workers had to take a cut in pay. Rebelco is going up, groceries are going up, everything's going up, but you understand what I'm saying?
So let me ask you, am I hearing you say that this is a conspiracy that's just come about, or do you think that this conspiracy has been in place for years, decades, months, what?
Decades. This train has been on its way to derailing for a long time now. You understand? Probably, I want to say, because I'm a 69 baby, and I want to say probably from before I was even around. You know?
But what does the establishment have to benefit, in your opinion, by getting Bermudians out of Bermuda?
That would be the big question. I don't know either. I don't know if it's just financial gain for those who are getting financially, having financial benefits from this. I don't know what it is, but I mean, it's apparent. We can't allow the obvious to escape us. Like right now, man, our children are being miseducated, and this is our future.
What do you mean by that?
I'll put it to you simply like this, sir. And I'm not trying to get nobody, get anybody to run across the coast, and I'm not trying to drag anybody across the coast. But I have a lot of friends that are teachers, and our commissioner of education, for instance, because we have to speak about these things. You understand what I'm saying? It's time to live our lives out loud and say what we think. And it's not to ruffle any feathers, you know what I mean? It's my opinion. And our commissioner of education, he was fired from his post in the United States. Now it's here. We live on, we go on the Cambridge system, which is a British system, right? Why aren't we, if we have to bring in teachers, why aren't we hiring from Britain or teachers that have understand the Cambridge system? He has to now come here, learn the system, and then turn around and implement ways to make this system beneficial for our children. That's a lot of work to do. When we could be skipping processes.
So, okay, but first of all, let me clarify that he was not fired from his last position, but he did leave under controversy. But is it fair to say, because we have a non-Bermudian, or what I hear you saying is a non-English commissioner who is at the herald of this, at the helm of this English, in your opinion, education system, that it will inevitably lead to the miseducation of our young people?
Stagnation of the education. It's gonna, if he's got to learn and then implement things to make sure, to ensure that our children are learning at their full capacity. I just feel like the process could have been eliminated. We are just in a period right now where our children are in a crisis situation, and they are our future. And what's happening right now, most of our children don't even want to stay in Bermuda. A lot of children want to, all they talk about is really leaving. When I talk to young people, they talk about leaving.
Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'd like to hear what these young people are actually saying to Sean. So we'll be back in a moment. And we're back. Now I have in studio with me Sean Dill, who is a concerned citizen, and he's been sharing some of his views about what he thinks is wrong and what's been going on, which has led the island to where it is today. Now, Sean, before the break, you were talking about, you basically had a concern that our young people were being miseducated. An example that you gave was that the Commissioner of Education, for example, the new one, he's an American and he'll have to adapt to the Cambridge system. And I would say to you, okay, that's a fair observation. Whether it's accurate or not is another story, but he's only been on the island for maybe 4 or 5 months. This, for example, plight of young people with the violence has been going on for the last 5 years almost now. So you said also that some young people had spoken to you. What are some of the things that they're saying?
Can we first go back before we come forward?
Sure.
Okay. I'm not trying to blame the commissioner for anything in particular. Only because he's American, he hasn't gone through the Cambridge. I just feel that we needed to hit the ground running. And so therefore it would have just been more beneficial for us to have someone that was experienced already in that position, because we're already behind the 8 ball right now. So, that's a process I just felt we could have skipped.
Okay.
But a lot of the young people's concern is basically that they can't get jobs. What they're looking and seeing is that there is no future for them. Mm-hmm. And see, hope lies in having a future. You know what I mean? That's when you have hope within yourself. Like when you could see that some things can be accomplished. I can do things. And so they just feel like there's no hope for them here. And that's sad.
Now, are these people or young people who lack education?
No, that's the whole thing. We're losing the creme de la creme. We're losing the best of the best, because they can go out there and compete with the best. You understand what I'm saying? With the training that would be necessary. And what they're seeing is that this is what someone told me. I would rather be a foreigner in a different country. And that's a beautiful thing, because we're all citizens of this world. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But it's sad to think that they have to leave where they are from and go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And you know what I mean? That doesn't scare me, but it's scary.
Now, you're a parent. You have 2 children. Where does parental responsibility fall into this? Do you think that parents are falling short?
Absolutely. Absolutely. See, we got down on the teachers, but I'll put it to you this way, seriously. In order for a tree to grow straight, you want to put a band around that tree, right? And in our time, in times before us, we had that band. We had parents that supported the schools. Right now, what we've done is parents against the teachers, and a lot of us have single parent homes. So that part of the band is breaking away. So now you have all the responsibility on the teachers to parent and to teach and to mentor and to do everything else. And so the parents, divorce, a lot of us went through divorce. Let's go there. Divorce doesn't have to be such a dirty word. Like it really should mean devotion. No, well, we're just got to be devoted to this kid. And a lot of parents are falling short of the devotion to their kids.
Now, let's talk about the falling short part, because as a mother, I can only speak in regards to men. And I do think collectively, some fathers are dropping the ball. Not male bashing, it is what it is. A lot of fathers are turning their backs, and there are a lot of great dads out there, but a lot are turning their backs on their children or only seeing them once in a while. And I think that that's creating this proliferation of angry young black, particularly males.
Sure.
What do you say? What is your perspective on that? Do you think that men are dropping the ball in some cases?
Yes, but I want to applaud the ones who are running with the ball as well. Mm-hmm. Okay, because it does. It takes a man. Listen, it's easy to see a man and then identify with that and then try to be a man, right? It's hard for a lot of these kids because they've never seen a man in their life. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to ask somebody to be something that they don't know how to identify with, or the only identification they have with that is, in my point of view, a negative connotation of what a man is. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? And a man really is there to take care of his family, to provide, to be responsible, and most of all, just to be there and nurture. You know what I mean? And no, we don't have that straight throughout, but there are a lot of good dads out there.
Now, it takes a village. Do you think that the village is failing the young people right now as well?
Yes, because if my kids are saying to me, I had a young girl, 6 years old. She saw me writing something one time, and she calls me Sean, and so she says, "Sean, what are you doing?" And I said, "I'm writing this thing out because, things are going wrong down here, and I'm trying to just write my thoughts down. And she said, "What are you talking about? Are you talking about how people are coming here and taking our jobs?" So yes,
At 6 years old.
At 6 years old, this is a true story. I kid you not, right? And if this is what they're feeling, then we must be failing them, because what they're seeing is that we're failing.
But at 6, like, let's be for real. At 6, she's heard it from somewhere because she's not in the job market.
Irregardless, this is a feeling that's inside of this child that's from Bermuda. I'm the type of guy. I heard two guys talking one time, and they said this girl had to go to the grocery store, and then she came out of the grocery store, they stopped her for stealing. She had 2 kids, and she didn't have no money. And I got angry with them. I got real angry, because it's like, if one of my women have to reduce herself to doing that to feed their family, that means me as a man, I'm failing.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? And so for my kids, for me to hear from kids or from younger folks than me that they need to leave Bermuda because there's no opportunity, et cetera, and they see with their own eyes how it's failing. And some of these kids are not failing in school, but they see that the majority are. They just don't want to get washed down the same drain.
Now, you've spent some time on the streets. What do you think, in your opinion, why have we gone from a time where we fought with fists, rarely there was a stabbing, to now this emergence of gun violence? Where did that progression come from?
Our love for one another. See, even when we fought back in the day, and it was fist to fist days, after the fights, we showed each other love, because we still had to go and play ball together. We still was outside together. We still stayed in the same neighborhoods. And now, we're just, I guess, with TV, with evolution of time, we see what's on television, and we've adopted. We're a society that adopts. We don't actually come out and innovate. You understand? And so we've adopted stuff from other cultures because we don't know how to identify with our own culture, and our own culture wasn't one of that.
Okay.
You know.
Well, let's take a pause right there. We'll hear more from Sean when we return in a moment. And we're back. Now, Sean, before the break, you were talking about Bermudians not having a sense of culture, which is why you think some of the gun violence has been going on, or the violence towards, let's be real, the young black man against each other. Now, do you not think that we have a sense of culture?
Our sense of culture, I feel, in the time that I've been here, has been rinsed down. It's been rinsed out. We definitely had a sense of culture in this aspect here. I would say, like, the third world countries, their culture is agriculture and fisheries. The more technological countries, the bigger countries, their culture is more technological. While the smaller countries of the world, and this is why we were such a big force in tourism back in the day. You know what I'm saying? The smaller countries of the world, we hold the manners of the world. We still say thank you and please and open up doors and pull up chairs. That's what charming. You understand what I'm saying? And so what it is, we are now became something that we're not. We're trying to take on a technological sort of culture, like where people shooting guns and people's bad boys and, you know, whatever. You understand where I'm coming from?
How do we revert to the old days? Is that possible?
Sure, through economics. Economics straightens a lot of stuff out. We even have folks out there that think they're religious until the economic situation starts to, and then they have to question themselves all over again, if you understand what I'm saying.
Now, some may say, you know, he's just an armchair critic. What are you doing, Sean, to try to make a difference? Or do you have a plan?
I have several plans. I can't just sit on one. You know what I mean?
No, you had an idea about economic empowerment. You care to share that?
Sure. Because it's simple. It's simple, but it takes the village that you was talking about. Because right now, what's happening is, can I paint 2 pictures for you?
Sure.
One, I'm gonna paint a pretty picture of the future. Okay, And this is my pretty picture of the future. And let's go back so we can come forward. In the 70s, you had ladies, single parent mothers that worked at Southampton Princess, let's say, that could buy a house because the money was getting filtered into the mainstream. Okay? Then we became a society that served corporations. And once that happened, the money started to only get filtered where those corporations wanted that money to go. Now this is it's just the reality of it. This is what's happened. We can't allow the obvious again to escape us. No, yes, back in the day, you had what was it called, guest houses. Instead of folks having to go stay up at Hamilton Princess, we had guest houses. We need to be able to get this country back to what we are. We are a tourist destination. So through not decriminalizing marijuana, through not having gaming, we are, oh man, we are falling so far behind the 8 ball right now.
So you think that those are the ways to go?
I wouldn't say that there's the total ways, because our culture, because I'm trying to entwine all this here in with our culture. Our culture is one of tourists. That's who we are. That's what made us successful. When we was a tourist industry, we didn't have a deficit. Straight up. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Our culture. We need to get back to who we are. We need to teach our youngsters how to go back into the tourist industry. We have international business now. We need to be able to bring them on board. You know what I mean? We need to start to pull for each other here.
Now, what about this plan that you had discussed with me prior about everyone investing in this bank?
Sure. Okay. Put it to you this way. If I'm not mistaken, it takes, say, 50 million to start a bank. We're talking about a lot of things tonight. We're talking about education. We're talking about a few things. Culture, economics. If we had 12,000 people to put $52 aside for 52 weeks, just 1 year, we would have $32,448,000. Right? Now, we sit there and we say, what are we going to do with the money? Well, there's so many different things we could do with the money. But we need to form some sort of round table, just simulating that there is no head at the table. Sort of round table simulates. We need to have an uneven number around this table so that we always come up with democratic decisions. Now, this is just one man's opinion, you know what I mean? But we as little pressure groups, we need to start not just having accountability for our groups, but we need to start to join together and support one another.
And you think that's not happening now?
Absolutely not. We're still acting as individuals, and that's only because we are such a dread people, like that. We are so independently arrogant in one of two ways. We're either too bougie to hang out with that crew, or I can make it on my own. You understand what I'm saying? But this still leaves us as self-serving leaders. This is what it is generating us. But a good leader knows when it's time to come together with other leaders, especially in a crisis situation. We have a lot of balls in the air as indigenous Bermudians right now, because our numbers disintegrating. And if not this election, after this election, our next election, see, government's already given out feelers for millionaires to come to Bermuda and to buy stake in Bermuda. I feel that if that's to be the case, I should be able to sell my own citizenship for maybe $1 million. If they want 400,000, I'll sell mine for $1 million. I'll give the government 400,000. I can leave because they're selling citizenship. I am a citizen, so I should be able to sell it.
So what do you say to people who may be looking at our show and saying, he's crazy?
I can't really worry about that. Because if I'm crazy, then this moment's going to pass and it's all just going to be hogwash. But if I'm right, then it would take $52 a week from 12,000 people for 52 weeks for us to now start that 1,000 journey step with one step, that 1,000-mile step journey with our one step. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I have all the solutions. None of us should. That's why we need a round table with an uneven number so we can come up with democratic decisions.
But in the interim, what are you, as Sean Dill, doing to try to make a difference in Bermuda?
I'm just hitting this off in small groups. I'm trying to help I guess especially my young man, to identify with themselves and identify with what's going on here in Bermuda at this time. I don't have a platform for a big group. I don't have money to buy airtime. I don't have none of that. So all I can do is affect change in my little 6-degree circles and hope that someone in that circle goes out and affects change somewhere else.
So what do you think is the key? I mean, you talked about culture, but let's talk about our young black man for a moment. What do you think is the key to getting them empowered and getting them working and getting them comfortable with working? Because a lot of them really just can't go from point A to point B.
Well, the passage of time is going to change all that because they're young men now. They're probably just starting to have kids. Starting to probably just break away from their little societies that they're in, because the fact that they got kids, and through the passage of time, you start to break away from your friends and start to go with your family. And now they got this sense of responsibility to their family. So now they want to be able to go out and function as proactive members of a society.
But then again, how do they do that when you yourself said earlier, a lot of them don't even know how to emulate that because they have nothing to go by?
Simply by practicing, putting the first foot forward. But we have to sort of give them some sort of avenue to be able to do this. But we shouldn't have to give them an avenue. No, let me take that back. We shouldn't have to give them an avenue.
So where are they supposed to learn?
Where are they from within? They need to start it first with themselves. Because otherwise in that third, we're just babysitting them, and that's no good. And it's okay to help somebody up, but I shouldn't have to help you out. It's two different things. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Right now, I'm tired of hearing the excuses. And, because we are so much better. We can be so much better. And through education, because you do better when you know better. But right now, they don't know better.
Now, one quick question, because we talked about parenting. But mothers, where do you think that mothers are going wrong when it comes to parenting their sons?
Not allowing the fathers to actually take over that role, even if the father doesn't have a job. Even if even if their only job is to make sure that they are nurturing their child properly. And I think that we've gotten caught up so much in this economic stuff that a man isn't deemed worthy if he doesn't have all this money. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing times I'm walking town with a suit on and get one sort of respect and attention, and then I will walk through who I really am in plain clothes and get a whole different sort of vibe. So to me, the mothers have to allow the fathers to be fathers. Understand their strength, because women are phenomenal. You understand? My two heroes really would be Mary Prince, who was a Bermudian slave, right? And Dr. Eva Hudson, straight up. I don't even know Dr. Eva Hudson, but just from what the books I've read, that she's written and just to hear what she had to say. It's one of my heroes. Women are phenomenal. My mama raised 2 sons by herself, basically. Women are phenomenal.
So, Sean, if Bermuda could have a look or something was happening that can signal a change, what would you want that to look like or be like to know that Bermuda is now back on the up and up?
It's going to take years, though.
But what would it look like, though?
Eventually?
Like tangibly, what would it look like?
We would have a university. We would have a water park down here. People who can't afford to pay back the banks right now because they can't get anybody to rent their apartments, the houses would be out as guest houses, and tourists would be flocked down here to come and gamble and to smoke a little herb. And the guest houses, listen to me, if you have your house, you're trying to rent it for $1,200 a month, your 1-bedroom apartment. If you did that same 1-bedroom apartment for $100 a night, and we had tourism coming down here the way it used to be, you would be able to make up to $2,800 a month on the same 1-bedroom apartment. Now we're flip-flopping this thing, because right now we're in trouble. You understand? Like, we're in a lot of trouble. Like, we need to come together. All these little stores that are around here that are we could be putting up smarter buildings besides certain stores. We could have a plan of economic empowerment, but we have to start to come together. Otherwise than that, put it to you this way. This is the bad story. Can I give you the bad story?
Real quick.
Sure. The bad story is that we do absolutely nothing. We allow the evilness to just continue, if that be the proper word for it. We allow it to continue, and we all just get washed down the same drain. Because there's 1 or 2 houses that's in certain families, it's not going to sustain those 12 kids now in another 20 or 40 years. Because most of us, black folks, we only think 40 years down the line, honestly. So, in saying that, this is the bare picture, that the last few indigenous that are here, that couldn't get out, the last 15,000, become refugees here. Because, see, they're shrinking our numbers. And what's happening is, like, a lot of Bermudans get out here, and a country has to come in and save itself. After, in a democratic society, you can't have 25,000 people having a vote and a decision-making for 65,000 citizens. We are not a nation. Bermuda's not a nation. We are British. Right beside your picture in your passport, it says British Overseas Territories Citizen. That's what we are. So we're citizens of one of Britain's overseas territories. That's what we are.
So, last question, yes or no answer. Do you think that Bermuda should go independent?
That can't be a yes or no answer. I'm sorry. We can go independent, but we need a critical mass of people to make that happen. We need our people to be on board with being the best that they can be. Because right now we're not living in a society where, unfortunately, I can say all my indigenous are proactive.
Sean, thank you for being here and hope to see you here again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching another edition of Straight Talk. And I'm your host, Carla Zuill. See you next week. You have a topic you'd like to discuss on Straight Talk? Send an email to talk@channel82.pm.
Thanks for watching Straight Talk with Carla Zuill.